It's touching everywhere. A little recap of what we've been doing these last couple weeks. We're taking this 98 Jeep Cherokee and converting it into a 4600 class Ultra 4 race car out here in Johnson Valley. You might be asking yourself, why am I doing it here on the lake bed? Because it's fun. Why not? You know, it's like, to me, it's like getting out of bed on the weekend when you know you're about to go do something fun. So I didn't bring all this stuff out here for nothing. Let's start using it. To start off the day today, we're getting this axle tacked in at least, and then we're going to be measuring for drive shafts. Since this is getting welded to the leaf spring perch, I want to make sure that the pinion angle is appropriate. We're going to be using a double cardan out of the 231 transfer case that we're using. That means the pinion is supposed to be pointed at the output shaft of that transfer case. The guys from Out of Drive Shaft, they're so passionate about what they do. One of the guys made an app that helps us measure that angle super easy. It's called Optimum Angle. Before I use the app, I want to make sure that my pinion is actually pointed where I want it to. So I've got a jack handle here, and we're just going to line it up with the pinion and the output of the transfer case. I don't have the slip yoke eliminator on there yet, so I'm kind of guessing at the moment. That's the drive shaft. And right now I have the pinion pointed down a couple degrees, and that's because on a leaf spring setup without an anti-wrap bar, when you drive forward, the axle wants to spin up and spin back. So when you're moving forward, that pinion is going to self-correct. And then in reverse, you're hosed. That's the end of it. So now that we have the pinion set up in a spot that I'm pretty comfortable with, we can go ahead and pull our app out. We're gonna put it up here off of the flat spot. Put it to the flat spot of your pinion surface. 13, it actually says it right here, 13.2. That is well within what a double cardan can do and to operate smoothly. Okay, now that we know our drive shaft angle is actually going to work, we can get the drive shafts measured and get them ordered.
We got the axle where we want it. I'm just gonna tack it on.
We're testing for clearances right now, and I went and measured from the outside of the tire to the lip, and it says it's about 10 inches, and we're at full stuff right now. So that's approximately where we'll be at. When you turn the wheel, it comes pretty dang close to that point right there. Oh, by pretty dang close, I mean like touches it. But if we slide the axle back, because that would be the thing you would do in this situation. If you slid the axle back, boom, now you're hitting that. We could move it back half an inch, and then we would be dead center of the wheel well while this is turned. So I'm probably not going to touch it at all, because yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do when we try to fit 37s later, but we'll do something.
So while the guys are finishing up some things with the leaf springs and then the front end, I'm gonna get started on mounting these new Raceline wheels onto our 35-inch Firestone tires. Huge thank you to Raceline and Firestone for jumping on board with this project, but let's get some bead locks on.
Alrighty, so we were working on the front end here. Now that we have the wheels, I can actually like rotate this and see where the wheels are gonna end up. Our link was too close to the seat. It was causing a problem. So when I turn this knuckle all the way, the back of this caliper comes too close to this mount and I can't fit a shock. And even though this side, there isn't a problem, I can move that link in more. If you come over here, we run into a big issue because I run into that. So what I'm thinking about doing, instead of running my bolt through like that, where it would become a problem and hit, I can gain more clearance by dropping it down and coming over like that. And then just dropping the bolt in from the top, just like that. Probably somewhere like there. Cool, well, that's how we're gonna do it. And that's gonna get us enough room in between where the caliper is and fully steered that we can still fit our gigantic shock. Take a look at this thing. I am pretending that this is full stuff right now because I think it is. And if I bring this shock over here, it's got to come down pretty far. See the problem? Cool, one step closer to getting this thing done. Alrighty, we just got done putting the second mount of our new link orientations in. They're not ideal, but it's the stock class. You can't have ideals. You can't have 14 inches of travel and still have a car that keeps up with the 4400 cars. Right now, we are really close to full droop, and we can't go to full droop because these arms hit the lift here. So right now, our link is really far below the axle tube here, but if you come over here and look right in there, it is super close to touching the housing, and that is the best we could do with our current setup and our shocks and everything. If it all has to be redone later, then, I mean, we'll find out. If this is a big problem during the race, then we'll have to redo it. But until then, I think this will be great. Shall we go down now and see what it looks like? Full travel? I think that's it. That is it for you. That is definitely full stuff. Not bad, right? Not like our spring can compress much more than that anyway. I know full stuff doesn't look that impressive, and that's the best we can do. I talked about those ideals a second ago. If you take a coil and you measure each coil, it'll give you how much the spring can compress before coil bind, before this coil touches that coil. Measured out, I think it was 9.5 inches on this particular coil spring. So if you took that and measure from where the top of the coil seat is to where the bottom is, right now we're looking at about 11 inches. That's right where we want to be. Also, you got to remember, when we articulate this thing, this tire is actually going to come up further than how it is right now. Exciting stuff, man. Exciting stuff. So today we got the rear axle in, kind of reconfigured how the front mounts. Tomorrow's goal is to get things more finalized, hopefully get shock mounts put in, shock mounts front and rear. If that goes smoothly, we might start on the cage. But I think Janelle made some wonderful fireman stew for dinner tonight, and that's one of my favorite meals. So we're gonna go enjoy dinner together. Me, Janelle, and Higgins, and then that guy. Hi, Zach.
Hey, what am I, man?
I don't know.
Chopped liver?
Delicious. Oh yeah.
Mmm, that smells so good.
Right? I'm actually really impressed with how it cooked.
One of my favorites. All right, so yesterday we had to relocate our lower link mounts. I put them on the axle earlier, like last week, because I thought they would be good there. They weren't good at all, so we had to redo both of them. The biggest reason we had to redo them is for our shocks. So in this class, we're not allowed to modify or cut out this inner fender, and so we're stuck with this as the height. So if you're going to fit a big shock in here, you pretty much just have to either build your other shock mount low or lift the vehicle, and we're going to do a good mix of both. So we have these shock relocation mounts from Rough Stuff Specialties. And originally this is a, what is it called? Like a pin top shock, where there's just a pin and a nut on the top. We have these mounts now to be able to bolt that shock in from the side. So those get spaced out like that, and then a bolt goes through, and then the shock fits up in there. And then coming down here, we'll have to make something work. So to start today, we're gonna get this cleaned up, get these welded in, and then we can start working on our lower shock mounts. All right, so we got the mounts welded in, and our shocks are temporarily in place just so we can look at how things are. And things are looking pretty good. I'm not hating. We also have the axle flexed out right now. So that side should be fully bumped. This side can actually go down a little more, but the straps are holding it. So a couple inches off of full droop isn't too bad. And this is what we're working with. We definitely have some fender to trim out over here. but it's not that much actually. So it's touching everywhere. We're actually going to be not using these fenders. We're going to be taking these ones off and putting like a wide body fiberglass fender on for weight savings and because they'll look cool. That problem will kind of resolve itself. But I think we need to build the lower shock mounts now. So that one's fully extended. This shock is fully compressed under here. Yep, pretty stellar. Let's level this out now that we know this is actually going to work, and then build our mounts.
Sounds good.
Cool. We spent quite a bit of today getting these front lower shock mounts in. I'm not going to bore you with the details. I'm just going to let you know that they're in and they look fantastic. So come over here and look at this. We have our shock mount in down there. It's looking like it's going to work really good on this side. And then on the other side, we've matched it. And yeah, Zach did a great job on those. But now it's time to move on to the rear. So we bolted up the wheels and tires on the back end of this. Now we can set it down on the ground and see how far these leaf springs actually flex properly now that they're actually like kind of mounted. With that, it'll give us a good idea of where ride height is because we can't change how the springs are back here. And so when we measure, we can actually figure out where the like halfway up the shock is. Oh. See that? Look how much that changed.
Yeah.
We need to get a whole bunch of weight back here. Where's those tires? Dang, that's pretty nice. Okay. You want to pass me that shock? Ooh, okay. Okay, this shock is a 12-inch travel. So that means if we want to split it exactly in half, that means 6 up, 6 down. All right, so for measuring these shocks back here, I think these leaf springs are going to break in a little bit, probably flex ½ inch down and whatnot. But on the internet, the guys are saying that they can get these leaf springs to flex till they're flat. Some guys like to invert them a little bit, and that means they'll be bent the other way. I don't think I want them to invert. So we're gonna draw an imaginary line from there to there, and then we're gonna measure from the center up. So you think you can keep your hand there? Six inches. Wow, that's pretty good actually. So with 6 inches to go up before they start flattening out and become inverted, that is perfect because I only want about 6 inches of up anyway. So now we just need to get the shock. These are beautiful. Just want to say that. So now we have some idea of how far up that will travel. I don't care how far down it will because leaf springs, they kind of just limit themselves out on the way down. We'll still have limit straps, but that's not the biggest concern I have at the moment. What about that?
Yeah.
So the middle, we're going in the middle of these, and then center of that. Cool, okay. So the plan now is to get this thing back up in the air, get some interior frame plates, get another bar, get that shock mounted.
Sun's gonna go down here in like 30 seconds.
You're right, sun is gonna go down in 30 seconds. So we're gonna work until it either gets too cold or we get sick of it. Are you sick of it?
No.
Okay, well then we'll keep going.
Well, hold up.
Did you say whoa or go?
Go.
Go?
Go.
Oh, wow. Well, there it is, Zach.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's the one.
that's it. Like, that's full droop. We should just build to that. Alrighty, well, I think that's definitely a sign to call it for the night. We didn't come up with anything good for the shocks. I thought one way would work, and after getting them lined up and everything, I mismeasured something, and so they were at like 45 degrees, which is too steep for a shock. So we're gonna figure something else out later, but that's all for today. Thanks for watching.
Wow, there's really like not even a breeze right now.
Say that, man. You might wake it up.